Tres Sabores. You know, it's Tres Sabores. It's because sabor, the word sabor means flavor. And so, but when it's used in Spanish language, it's sort of like, muy sabroso. It's like kind of, very tasty. 3 flavors, but also 3 winemakers in the beginning. Because I had this crazy idea that I would have a different approach to my vineyard. It was a vineyard that had been planted it is a vineyard that had been planted in 1971. And I wanted to see what made it tick. So I had this crazy idea to hire 3 winemakers and have them each make their own wine from the same grapes. And nobody had ever, as a commercial project, and nobody had ever done that before, so that was great. So I hired 3 very willing and trusty souls, Ken Bernards, Karen Culler, and Rudy Zudima. And they all threw their lot in with me for 4 years, and they each got about 2 tons of grapes, and we made about 175 cases of each. The only caveat was, the only condition was we need to bottle on the same day. Other than that, they had carte blanche. And so it was really cool. And it was different. And we learned a lot about this vineyard, how it changes. We used to pick twice. Now we pick the Zinfandel alone 6 times. But it's fun, and it's for a small winery. It's also very manageable. It means things come in at dawn in 2 or 3 ton lots, and we have the lots that are the replants. We have the lots for the rosé. We have the lots just coming up the slope for the Zin. We have the lot that it's the edge of the alluvial fan, so there's less soil, so it ripens before the others, and you catch it. And for Zin, that's really incredible because you catch it before it's going to raise. Some of the cluster is going to raise in anyway, but you can catch it just at that point of individuality for Zin. That's the goal.
So I see you have a couple of golden labs, or is that someone else's golden lab back
They
there?
are our Goldens. Beautiful. Golden retrievers. This is Mom. This is the girls. This is Boozy Rouge, and then Cava is our 5th generation.
Wow.
So we've been raising Goldens for a long time. It's sort of Goldens and Sauvignon Blanc, or I don't know what that is. They kind of go together, don't they? They kind of all darker Goldens, maybe a little. That's where we get into the Zinfandel, maybe. But they're constant companions. They're so sweet, and they also do a really great job at border patrol. You know, they are first line defense against rodents. They dig up mice, put on quite a show for the tourists. This is Sauvignon Blanc, and I've been making Sauvignon Blanc since 2005 from the Farina Vineyard up on Sonoma Mountain. Brilliant vineyard. Andy Erickson turned my husband onto it.
Oh, really?
And it was at a time when I really needed to have a wine, even because it was 2005. We had made this wine in the cellar. Then the big Mare Island wine fire happened, and so I lost everything in that fire.
Oh, geez.
And this wine was in the cellar, and my husband said, out of true love, I think, well, if you just pay me for the grapes, then you can use the wine. And so ever after that, we just continued to work with it, and it's such a remarkably different site for Sauvignon Blanc that it's really fun to work with it. So this is the wine that I actually experiment the most with. This is small vessel now. A good portion of it is wild yeast. Varying temperatures, some controlled, some back to my control freak on Sauvignon Blanc sort of thing, but then other small vessel wild yeast, new barrel, old barrel, small stainless, small drum.
A lot of experimentation.
It warrants it because it's just so different. The soil is so spare that unlike most Sauvignon Blanc vineyards where winemakers are sort of pleading for some reticence of leaf development, this is quite the opposite. Like, do you think I could get another leaf? Would that be another leaf? You feel like you're doing an auction or something. How about another leaf? And so there's a lot of sun on the fruit. We call this a sunny Sancerre, actually, in terms of style. That honeysuckle as it develops, and also a lot of stone fruit. There's wild sage that grows on the floor. So there, I guess I'm probably imagining it usually, but I think that it just points to what you're going to eat it with, right?
Yeah.
You know. My simple answer is love and osmosis. So as a young public health nurse studying in New York, from California, by way of Maine, studying nursing and public health in New York, I met a young man, John Williams, who kind of basically cured me of Lambrusca, the starving student diet of $100, $1.68 Lambrusca, and introduced, I think, literally my first real bottle of wine was like a Beaulieu Private Reserve, 68 Private Reserve. And so it's like, okay, boy, howdy, we're not going back now. And sure enough, I moved up to upstate New York where he was making wine in the Finger Lakes. And then we decided to, hang together for a while. And we moved up to California and started Frog's Leap, really truly by selling our motorcycle. Larry Turley had a motorcycle. We had a motorcycle. We bought our first grapes. We worked after hours. I was doing public health nursing. John was working at Spring Mountain, and we used the press and the equipment there after hours and made it happen. And had a lot of people who were very generous and great mentors. And Larry Turley had a great barn where we started out. And I guess officially I'm the first employee, because we figured out pretty quickly somebody had to answer the phone and talk with distributors and do all of that. And so I just started. I guess I kind of knew after a few years that I'd stop in between seeing patients. I had a public health route, so I was up and down the valley, so I could stop in, answer some calls, whatever. And I figured out when I was actually seeing patients being in the office and seeing people and so on. And then a steady stream of people started to come through Frog's Leap, so it was time to go. Both John and I went pretty much full blast, committed to Frog's Leap. I did that in 84 and he in 85. So, and then jumped many years ahead, we bought this beautiful place in 87 that already had grapes. And so it was sort of like this was my first real, I'm living with the grapes. And really Frog's Leap was rolling along, and as were many wineries that had started in the early 80s, almost exponentially. And that was taking 100% of the time. And at a certain point when the kids were starting to be teenagers, it was sort of like, well, there's got to be something else. I'm not particularly enamored of the bigger distributor side of things. And is there something else that I could do that would be imaginative, that would be fun? So that's when I started, as a little sidelight, this idea of hiring the 3 winemakers and doing something quite different. So 3 tastes, 3 flavors, the vine, the terroir, the spirit of the table, the spirit of everybody cooking around a great island and drinking wine. And, with our family, it's really true. First glass goes to the chef, so that means it's a Magnum later, and we're like, okay, where's the next bottle? But that all in the spirit, and so it's been an interesting go to try to do what I built to be about a 4,000 case winery.